And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to your RBLR Rays show. I'm Ben. With me is Zach. It's not the morning.
It's sometime.
Hi, how's it going, Zach?
Afternoon, sometime.
Yeah.
I'm doing very well, Ben. It is sometime at some place, and we are here to talk about the Rays, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I need to shave. I need to shave my head, shave my face. I got a lot going on here.
You do.
But yeah, the Rays.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing, it's working on the field. Like they're winning
Yeah.
games, winning some
Love it.
series. McClanahan though is done for the season, so that's kind of a headline.
Not
but
fun.
Yep, we'll keep trucking along. Andrew Kittredge, though, made his return last night in the Friday night extra innings win over the Angels. It's really not the Angels, it's just Shohei Ohtani, like, by himself.
The Anaheim Shohei Ohtanis.
Yeah. And then we had a couple more IL things with Kevin Kelly and Manuel Margot headed to the IL. It's relatively big news, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's, a lot happened this week.
A lot happened this week, and it's been a wild week, and this is what I love about this team so much is that they are just going to keep trucking. They're going to keep playing. They're going to keep hitting. They're going to keep pitching. They're going to keep winning baseball games. They don't care about all the other stuff that's going on around them. And when I said in the preseason that I think this team is going to win a World Series, part of the reason that I said that is because this team just has the ability to perform through adversity. And that's what you need to win in the postseason. You need to be able to be adversity proof. That's what this team is. This team is adversity proof. And they're just showing it this week. If there was any week where you could say, well, we just lost our ace, so we're just going to pack it in and not even try, this would be the week you could say that. But they haven't. They've gone out there. They're winning series. They're on track. I think they have a very good chance to win this series and potentially sweep depending on how these games go. I love having, Tyler going in that first game. I'm very confident in that. So, just love it. Just love the brand of baseball we're playing right now.
Yeah, even the game last night, it seemed like the emphasis was more so on the doubleheader today. Like that was kind of like, if we can steal one, that'd be great. And they stole it. They stole the win, which is amazing.
Oh yeah.
So we'll take it. And then you got, your only two living starting pitchers pitching today. So, not living, but usable. Going today in the doubleheader, and then you get back-to-back off days. So the scheduling stuff, it sucks to do a doubleheader, but it kind of works out. So yeah. It is what it is. Not too annoyed by that. So yeah, everything is it's
baseball.
They just keep going. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It just be a full. Yeah. We'll have a full day of Rays baseball. 2 games. It'll be fun to watch. The train just keeps on going. We're back within 2 of the O's by the by. So that's fun. They're playing the A's, so the chances of us gaining any more is not very good, at least for the next day or two. But we're keeping and trucking. We continue to apply the pressure to the Orioles, and I believe that's going to pay dividends by the end of the season. Because if we had kind of fallen back a couple games, like 4 or 5 games, and the Orioles could just kind of coast, it might be tough to come and get them. But we are putting that pressure on them consistently to keep winning, and just I think having that pressure consistently on them is going to result in eventually them swooping back into the lead. And I think that's something we can expect to see sometime in the next 2 weeks. I just think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Speaking of applying consistent pressure, want to make sure we are pressuring you all to vote for in the Best of the Bay podcast. I'll get out of the way so you can see my face here. In the entertainment section for Best Podcast, we really appreciate being nominated again. We want to finish the job this year and win it. So make sure you pressure yourself and anybody who has internet access. Maybe you can do a write-in too. I don't know if they'd get it in time, but you can try. Just vote for us for the Best Podcast. We appreciate you. So
very much.
Thank you. You don't even have to share this episode or anything. Just vote. That's all.
Just share the link to vote. That's all you got to share.
Right. Yeah. So we'll get into talking about some of the baseball this week. Yeah. We dropped that. I know we dropped that to the series to the Cardinals, but we ended up beating the Guardians. beat the Giants, and now we got a chance to honestly sweep the Angels today. I'm just hoping for a series win, but you got two really good starters on the mound. There's a higher than usual chance for a sweep. So I don't know. What do you think we learned this week from the games?
I think I kind of already said it, but I just think that
Yeah.
this team is not going to allow the adversity off the field to affect them. And this is why we've talked about this kind of from the beginning of the year, the importance of team chemistry and of that locker room healthiness of this team is something that is really valuable. And throughout the year, when people have suggested that we move guys or like get rid of certain guys to bring in more quote unquote talent, and we have said no, it's important to keep the locker room culture the way it is. This is why. This is when you have adversity like this, you have to have a strong locker room, strong leaders that can hold this team together. And look at a guy like Harold Ramirez, who the last 2 weeks, he's batting over 400. He's one of the leaders of this team, bringing the guys along. That's super valuable. And I mean, did he have a cold streak earlier in the year? Absolutely. And was he looking like maybe, and is there a chance that me being brought up was like a direct threat to him? Maybe so. But he's handled it well because I think we're living a healthy locker room where even if there is a sense of competition, it's in a healthy way. And everybody's forced, kind of pushing each other to be better. And this team is equipped to handle the stress of a baseball season, which is just going to happen. Adversity is going to happen to you. It doesn't matter how good you are, how super your team is. Look at a team like the Mets. When they faced adversity, they crumbled into a pile of ashes. And or the Yankees, when they faced adversity, they pummeled it into a pile of ashes. When Judge was out for a little bit, they can disintegrate it as a team and just never to be heard of again. They think they're currently losing 6-1 against the Red Sox. The Rays were built differently, and I mean that, not only from a roster construction perspective, but from a locker room perspective. They were built with a locker room in mind, and I think that's just showing dividends right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're so consistent in their approach no matter what's happening, and that also that comes from the front office. The front office is consistent in everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching staff is consistent, and that trickles down to the players. And you even see the young guys like Basabe and Mead who are brought up. They're consistent in their approaches. Of course, they're rookies and they're going to struggle, but the stats that are starting to stabilize for young players, when they first get their 100 plate appearances, whatever, it's always the plate discipline stats that stabilize first. And we already see Oslevis Basabe, he's running a 92% zone contact rate. That's really, really high. That's well above average. That's something he's known for. He just keeps, you put together the consistent at bats, play to your strengths. He's a strong defender. And he's not overexposed right now because he's able to kind of just play to his strengths and the team isn't asking to do too much. Curtis Mead hasn't gotten as much playing time because there's, a bit more of a logjam at the corner spots on the infield, but he's shown flashes of being he's a good, well-rounded everyday player. But even his plate discipline stats that are stabilizing, he's got a really low chase rate. He's I mean, a little bit earlier in his cup of coffee here, he was expanding the zone, but he's really kind of dialed in now. And yeah, it's awesome to see the emphasis on the process rather than what it looks like when the ball's in play. If you're doing what you do well and you hunt for a good pitch to hit, good things are going to happen. Put a good swing on it. And when we're seeing that from everybody kind of buying into that philosophy but in their own way, so it's just cool to see that consistency, chemistry, all these things. It just culminates in a really fun and exciting and good team.
Yeah, it's a good brand of baseball that we're playing right now. And it's funny you mentioned about the process, because that's something that Hayden talked about last week, about that the Rays are a team that allows the process to play out. They're allowing the process of development, even at the major league level. They're allowing these players to continue to improve. And I, for one, have been super impressed with Curtis Mead's defense. Over his glove is the arm. You can kind of see the arm needs some work, but the glove is major league ready. I've been very impressed with the glove so far from him, and the range. I've been really impressed, and he's putting some good swings on baseballs. As much as we don't want these injuries to happen, if we're looking for a bright side, we're getting to see some of these guys and seeing what they got, and what they got is pretty good. They got, and even Pinto, who's really kind of was not expecting him to be up, but he's taking advantage of it. He's getting RBI knocks in the 10th inning. Way to go. Really love to see that.
Yeah, I mean the depth is there. It's definitely been tested, but it's there, and they're able to still go out and win games and continue to put pressure on Baltimore, like we said. So really, no complaints with how they're handling things, and I just hope that I mean Taylor Walls is on his way back. He turned a bit of a corner, so like Mead isn't going to be up forever. I think they'll probably keep Basabe around because like right now Basabe is kind of the shortstop
He's a
on the
starting
roster.
shortstop right now.
So yeah, even when Walls returns, I think Mead kind of gets option, but that's fine. But even that will kind of allow Basabe to play more to his strengths as like a pinch runner. I don't think he would be a defensive substitute for Walls, but he can still come in and pinch hit. Like if you need someone to put a ball in play, he can put the ball in play. So yeah, just keep going and keep doing your thing and let things play out. And it works. So good
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I'll be excited to have Walls back because of it for his defensive utility. As much as I've appreciated Basabe's defense, he's doing a really good job out there. I mean, Walls is a different level defensively, and especially when you get to the postseason, it's nice to have like a defensive ace on your team on the infield. It's just nice to have that. If I have Walls and BLowe in on defense in the late games that I have Paredes at, if I have Paredes at third, Walls, BLowe, and Yandy, I feel like they're going to get anything that gets hit their way. So that's a good feeling. So I'll be happy when he gets back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mejia is a little bit further along, so he'll come back first.
Mhm.
I think he's pretty much done with his rehab. He could get activated as soon as the Rays return from their current road trip. Taylor Walls, he's still a week or two away from starting a rehab assignment, but he's starting to take some dry swings. So he takes good care of himself. He'll bounce back well. And we talked about Margot earlier. He had his surgery to remove loose bodies from his elbow. He should be back like late September. I don't know how effective he'll be, but he'll be available in some capacity. We know White and Reifert are getting some work in high A still. We really don't know when they'll come up to Durham, but that's certainly a possibility in the future. And I think that's it for the injury stuff. Is unless I missed
Yeah,
someone.
we
I
talked
mean, I
about
know I said
Kittredge a little
Kittredge
bit
is
too.
back, but
Yeah, we talked about
yeah,
Kittredge, which what a return for Andrew Kittredge, right? Back like he never left, just cool as a cucumber. I think I mentioned this last week. He just looks so relaxed when he's up there pitching. He just looks like he's got it under control, and he had it under control last night. I mean, there was never even like a moment of doubt. Like from the first couple pitches he threw, they were like, we're gonna win this game. Like he had it under control. I'm super psyched to have him back. He brings it. It's just another reliable guy that's in our bullpen now that we can feel like if we can go to them. Bob Steve also, just as a shout out, what an inning from him last night. I don't know if you watched it. He threw a
yeah,
ball on his first pitch and it was immaculate, and it was like disgusting, like 7 swinging strikes, I believe. I mean, he was nasty last night. So we're really building up the bullpen right now for some. We have some really reliable arms right now.
yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see Kittredge get his stuff back to normal. He's still looking. It's a little flat. Velo's not fully there, but it's better than what we were, getting in Durham. So I mean, it's only a matter of time. But yeah, like you said, his presence out there, like he's still gonna pitch like he's got that elite stuff, and he'll get back there.
Oh
Not
yeah.
really concerned about him there. So yeah. Also Kevin Kelly was another one I wanted to detail a little bit more. He had his little ankle injury. They don't expect him to be out too long, but yeah, I guess he gets a little break and he's going to be back probably by the minimum. I don't think he's going to need a rehab assignment. If he does, it'll be like one inning and then he'll be back. So yeah, I
Siri's
mean the
also been
bullpen is
dealing with
strong.
a pinky. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
bullpen's
Jose Siri.
very
Yeah,
strong.
he
With
like
a
sprained it
pinky.
or something.
Yeah, he like sprained it or whatever. I saw a tweet today that he swung in the cages and he should be fine. I think he's available if needed, but I don't think he's starting. I can't remember. I didn't see the lineup. I don't know if he's
No,
starting.
I think Luke Rayleigh is in center.
Which is I just find that fun. I mean, even though it's like they're on the ball in the maybe it was the 8th or 7th inning the last night, I'm like Siri gets to that ball. I think,
Yeah,
but it's
definitely.
okay. I mean, it's fun to see Luke really running around out there in center. That's fun. Um, but I will be glad when Siri is back because he is very good.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really hard to beat Siri defensively. So Yeah, I mean, but Rayleigh he's fine. Like him, Josh Lowe. I know Margot's out, but like I guess those are the two guys who could play center field with Siri and Margot out. But they're
probably
fine.
not Randy, I don't think.
Yeah, I would not. Randy can. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything negative. Never mind. I was confused and surprised to see him named as like a Gold Glove finalist last year. I know they still go off like the voters like look at errors or whatever, and like fielding percentage, which doesn't make sense because like we have better things. So like, why don't you just look at the better things? But
Gold Glove voting is a joke. It's a
he makes
joke.
some really impressive catches,
He
but
does.
it's because he has to, because he can't. He doesn't. He's still learning how to be a major league left fielder.
His routes are sometimes lacking. You've seen that. You see that. I was at a game. I was at the game a couple weeks ago, and there was at least one where I'm like, that was not the route that I think he should have taken to that ball, and it resulted in a base hit. Where it's like, I think if you take a better route to that ball, you maybe catch that. But it is what it is. I mean, he's fine. That's why he's in left field, and that's why we have Luke Rayleigh and Josh Lowe.
Yeah, and other teams know the scouting report, so if he's fielding a ball, you got a runner rounding third, they're going to send him every time, and they do that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. I wouldn't want him to have to try to throw a guy out at the plate from center field. Yeah. Luke Rayleigh's got a cannon.
He can.
Josh Lowe, he can do it a little bit, but Luke Rayleigh's fine.
Yeah,
he's all right. He's good enough. So, but some players that weren't just good enough, that were really good this week, were our bats of the week. So go ahead and share who your bat of the week was. I think we gave Eureka a nice 17 minutes here to prepare the graphic, so that should be good.
He should be fine. Well, I'll give him a couple more because I'll do my little warm up here to it. It is somebody that we mentioned earlier in the podcast, somebody who there's some things have been said about him over the course of this podcast, the time that we've been on this podcast, but he has earned his flowers this time. That's Harold Ramirez. He's been absolutely just hitting the ball. Like, he just hits. Harold hits every single time. He was, I think he was 4 for 5 last night or 3 for 5? I can't remember. But he had a great night last night.
3 for 5, because I think
3 for 5.
He didn't triple play.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But he that was not his fault. Well, it kind of was. He shouldn't have been swinging at those pitches. But anyway, besides of that, he's really been hitting the ball well recently. He's been very consistent. He's been kind of some of the veteran glue that we've needed on this to kind of keep this team rolling, continually getting on base and driving guys in. He has more than earned his spot on this championship level team. He's exceeded my expectations a lot this season, and he's just continuing to do it. He's just continuing to exceed expectations and to just hit the ball every single, at least once or twice a game. He's hitting the ball, and you know what? I love it. I love to see it. Harold's my bat of the week.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to put the ball in play 9 times out of 10, and that's valuable in a lot of situations. Someone who doesn't make as much contact, but was still my bat of the week, was Brandon Lowe. Mm-hmm. He had a .46 win percentage added this week, which led the team fairly significantly. So, I mean, Randy was a little close behind him at .42, but Brandon Lowe just he wills the team to win games, especially in that comeback where they scored a couple runs in the 9th against the Guardians, where he works a really good at bat, a tough at bat. I believe it was against Class A.
It was Class A.
Yeah, it was against him. Hits the infield single the other way that he legs out because he's fast for whatever reason. It just makes sense. Steals second base, and then Randy drives him in. If he doesn't, and that's what all with 2 outs, by the way. So if he doesn't, leg out that infield single to tie the game, steal second to get into scoring position with 2 outs off of a guy who throws really hard, so he's relatively quick to the plate. Yeah, Brandon Lowe just helps force this team to win, and it's amazing how great he is when he's healthy. So we love it.
He is one of the best hitters on this team, if not the best hitter. He had his approach and not just as a hitter, but his base running and his baseball IQ, I guess is the way you would say it. The fact that he's I don't know that I've ever seen him not go first to third on a single. The man's always going to end up at third. He has great timely base stealing when needs. He has great base running, and he's just a really valuable asset to this team. and super awesome to see him hit his 100th home run this week. It will.
Yeah.
I was looking at the leaderboard. I mean, he has a chance to really climb up the Rays leaderboard this season, and he kind of gets stuck behind Longo for a while. But I think I don't know. Like, I think it depends on how long he stays with the team and how healthy he stays. But I think he could scare Longo's team record up there sometime in the near future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's the fastest second baseman ever, not just in like Rays history, not just like, oh, in the live ball era. No, like ever to hit 100 home
Ever.
runs. Like nobody like to be the number one at something like that. I don't think, a lot of I mean, I'm beating a dead horse here. I feel like I say the same things every time, but nobody appreciates Brandon Lowe as much as we should. And yeah, gotta enjoy it while we can because I want him to stay around forever, but you never really know. Yeah.
I hope they extend him again.
Yeah, absolutely. Who was your arm of the week?
My arm of the week was one of the Rays' new additions who we kind of needed a good, we were kind of, it was some rough times. We needed somebody to come out there and just put together a good start. And that's what Civale did. He put together a 6-inning start with no runs allowed. He had his best start as a Ray by far, doing what we were hoping he could do, which is limiting base runners, striking out guys, not at like a super high clip, but he getting his strikeouts here and there and limiting the damage to nothing, giving the Rays a chance to win every time he's out there. I was super exciting for me to see him being able to come into that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he continues to develop under the Rays' watchful eye of Kyle Snyder, and as he continues to just be a big part of this team right now, because he's a super vital part of this team right now, especially with Shane going down. And so to see him be able to come out there and have a good start was really good, and he's my arm of the week.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I'm still interested to see like what adjustments he's going to make because this is like it's been the couple week grace period, couple starts now where he's just kind of done his own thing. So now I'm excited to see where he goes. So yeah, it was nice for him to kind of get that quality start under his belt before he starts making changes because I think it kind of helps with the momentum and he's got a good taste in his mouth now. So yeah, just looking forward to his inevitable success. I had my arm of the week was Sean Armstrong. Just the value that he provides to this team, like getting from a bullpen day to the back end of the bullpen, or getting from a starter that got knocked around a bit to the back of the bullpen. Like he's such a good a bridge guy in that way, filling that Colin McHugh role really nicely. He only had 3.2 innings pitched this week, but he was tied with Civale actually and Glasnow with the team lead in WAR, but they pitched almost twice as many innings as him. So yeah, just super valuable. And without him, with McClanahan and Glasnow Glasnow went down for a little bit with his back spasms thing. But if it weren't for Armstrong being able to come out and provide quality innings like that, we would have had probably a situation a little similar to May, because we have a lot of these high leverage 1-inning guys, but we don't have a lot of Sean Armstrongs. We have like Sean Armstrong and then kind of Kevin Kelly. He's getting there. He's developing in that way. And I think, that's kind of his destiny in the future. But there's only one Sean Armstrong and he fills that role so well. So really thankful to have him. And yeah, the bullpen is fine. When we lost Rasmussen and Springs, the bullpen wasn't fine for a couple weeks, but we got through. I mean, the schedule was a little bit rougher, but we got through the tough part. Back-to-back off days coming up after today. Yeah, and Glasnow's back already too, which is great. So, yeah, no complaints here. Just great stuff from Armstrong.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before that what he brings to the bullpen is just so valuable, and his mentality, like he's gonna go out there and throw strikes, and that's just super valuable. And you look at a guy, and Kitteridge is kind of the same way. Like Kit's gonna go out there, he's gonna throw straight, he's gonna pound the zone, and that's what the more of those guys you have, the better, because that's just a valuable mindset to bring to the whole bullpen. It's just like if you throw strikes, good things will happen. Like 99% of the time. Just throw strikes. I mean, obviously you want to throw them in a way that is going to be deceptive or in a way that's going to miss bats, but just throw strikes. And that's what Sean Armstrong does. Really just, he is, you really can't overstate the value that he has given to this team. As you like, just like you said, you just really can't overstate the value he's given to this team.
Yeah, and kind of going back to what you were saying about throwing strikes, Kyle Snyder preaches it all the time that the cost of, starting account 1-0 is so much more, it's so much worse than, throwing a pitch in the zone and they just happen to knock it to the outfield for a single. Like, the cost of ball one is so much greater than most of the other outcomes when you're, trying to fill up the zone. So just having guys who trust themselves, and Armstrong, he trusts himself a lot. He will throw
Yes.
his 94-mile-an-hour fastball, kind of a dead zone shape. Like, it doesn't have great. I mean, he's got like a good enough approach angle to make it work, but he will throw that down the middle and he'll say, try to hit this. And they really can't. And it kind of comes more from the attitude than anything else. He loves to do it in 2-strike counts when the hitter's already kind of on their heels. So it kind of plays up a bit in that way. But Kittredge is kind of the same way. He's going to throw his, I mean, it will climb back up, but he'll throw his, 93, 94-mile-an-hour sinker at the bottom of the zone. He's going to throw it in the zone every time, and he's going to say, I dare you to hit this. And it works for him. So it's really nice to have that kind of mentality in the bullpen. So yeah, just good stuff. And also Kittredge is the longest tenured Ray currently on the roster. So
How about that?
before he came back, it was Brandon Lowe, but he's been on the team like the
A long
longest
time.
out of
I
everybody
think
on the active roster.
6 years.
Yeah.
He's been on the team for 6 years. Is that right?
I
think I saw a graphic about that last night.
Yeah, I got to see what year I mean, I know he started out in Seattle's organization. No, yeah, this is his 7th year. He's been in since 2017.
The old
made
guy.
his rookie debut at 7. He's the old man on the team right now.
That's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah. I think just the audacity with which Starr Armstrong and Kittredge throw their fastballs, I think just overwhelms guys. Because like, you're going to throw what, where, and which count, and they just don't know how to handle it. I also did want to throw out a shout out to Josh Lowe, who neither of us put as our bat of the week, but he's been doing some really good stuff in some clutch moments. Definitely deserves some recognition. He's been playing really well. I'm consistently impressed in his situational hitting, his ability to just know the moment and put the ball in play and find grass. I've just been really impressed with him recently.
Yeah, he's against lefties. He's kind of honing in on his approaches. Like, he's got like his go-to thing, and then he's got his good backup thing. His pitch recognition is excellent. Yeah, and so it works for him because he's able to his pitch recognition is excellent. So he's able to slow the game down because he kind of knows what pitchers are going to do. He can kind of recognize a pitch out of the hand, and that allows him to really just play to his strengths and take things, one step at a time. So really great to see that development. He's hitting much better against high velo lately too, which is awesome.
Yes,
but again, it comes down to his pitch recognition, just the presence of mind to hang in there and continue to develop. So yeah, I mean, there's so many great things. It's just so exciting right now.
It's in a time where you want your team to be playing well at this point in the season. You want your team to be feeling like they're moving in a positive direction as you head towards the postseason. And that's exactly the kind of baseball that we're getting from the Rays right now. And it's just super exciting to be a part of a fan base of a team that is moving in such a positive direction at such an important time of year. It really gives you confidence that, like, not only are we going to make the playoffs, but we're going to run into the playoffs with a full head of steam, and just excited to see where it goes. Cause I think anyone who may have been, because there was some doubt out there, like, oh, maybe they're going to fall apart and fall out of the playoff race. I think they've quashed that completely. They're going to keep running in the positive direction. They're going to make the playoffs. They may win this division, and then they're just going to run into the playoffs with all that positive momentum, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the playoffs, we do have to get into our listener topic here before we wrap things up. You all voted for us to talk about what a playoff rotation would look like. And a playoff rotation is really just, what is the playoff pitching staff going to look like? Like, how do we get through a game? How do we cover innings? So, right. I don't know, just starting with the starting pitchers, we know we need 3 solid starters to be able to do anything in the postseason if you want to have World Series hope. So who would be your 3 like guys that you're throwing out there first, second, and third game of a division series.
I think right now for me, it goes Tyler Glasnow, Zach Eflin, and then Civale is my third right now. And the reason that I say that is because Littell may be like a little bit better, I might even say, but Littell has this incredible utility because he's come out of the bullpen and he was a reliever. So he's come out of the bullpen. So he's kind of your get out of jail free card that you can use. Like, to me, that's what he is for the postseason. He is your get out of jail free card for any of those three starters that have a rough start, and you can just kind of hit the reset button in like the second inning. If like somebody's getting hit around a little bit, you can bring him in and let him finish the kind of starter innings to move into the back half of the bullpen. I think he provides more utility and value to the team as that role, as opposed to Civale, who I don't know how comfortable he would be doing that, but I know for a fact that Littell can do that. So I think that I expect to see Civale in that kind of third starter role as opposed to Littell.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really nice to have Littell and Armstrong able to kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
They need Littell to start right now, which is fine. But yeah, like in the playoffs, he could be an excellent McHugh type guy. I was kind of hoping to have like Armstrong and a lefty, just so you can play more matchups. But Littell is really platoon neutral. Armstrong is to an extent, but Littell more so with the emergence of his new sinker and his splitter. His off speed pitch has always been excellent. So he can also handle righties because he also has a brand new sweeper. So new pitches everywhere for Littell, but it's made him really effective as a starter because he's platoon neutral. And so he would be excellent in like a multi-inning role. So yeah, I think the Rays would also go Glasnow, Eflin, Civale. Taj Bradley's the wild card. If he can provide starter innings, that's great. If he can provide bulk innings, that's great. If he can provide back into the bullpen innings, that's great too. But I think we'll see Bradley on the roster in some capacity in the playoffs. It's just who knows? He's starting to kind of get things a little bit more smoothed out down in Durham or up in Durham because, well, would it be? No, it's still up for you because
It'd be up for me too. Yeah,
Durham.
A little bit up, not as far up, but still up.
We'll say over in Durham then. So he's getting things together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jacob Lopez will force his way onto a postseason roster. I mean, if it's out of necessity, obviously anything can happen. But
yeah,
I like what he brings kind of in his multi-inning type role. I don't expect him to start any playoff games, and if he's starting playoff games, the rest of this pitching staff, I don't.
That would not be a good scenario. That's a dark timeline, and where
I mean, it'd be fun.
It'd be fun. It might be fun at the start of it.
Yeah. But I guess we kind of covered the starters and the bulk guys at that point. I mean, Erasmo's been great. Really thankful for him, but he would seem like an odd man out unless something crazy happens. Fleming probably gets option, but I think just because he's a lefty, I think he has a slightly better chance to stick around, and he does get ground balls on command. So
true.
They just don't go to defenders.
They just don't go to gloves. They just find grass somehow, which I don't know what he
like a 70-mile-an-hour ground ball every time, and
maybe he just needs to like hold the ball on like just one seam to the right every time he's throwing it, and then maybe that'll fix it. I don't know, but have you tried it? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Who would your top three relievers be in the bullpen? I feel like 1 and 2 are kind of locks, but the third one's a little up in the air right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think obviously it's Pete and Adam is 1 and 2. And then I think you're right. I think it gets very interesting because I think it's kind of a Diekman, Bob Steve, Kittredge sort of sauce in between there, which is a really good problem to have. That I feel like any of them, like right now, like Bob Steve is the hot hand at the moment, although Diekman's still been good. Diekman's not been as good recently. And Kittredge is still just coming off of the IL. But I think either of those three, I would be fine to see in like the 6th or the 7th inning. I would not be scared to see either of them in a high leverage situation. I think any of those three would be excellent. For right now, I'm going to say Diekman, I think, but that could change.
Yeah, I think Adam and Fairbanks, those are the 8 and 9 guys for sure. They could also close out a game if needed. I think I would still keep Poche up there as the third guy. just because of the body of work this season and because
That's
the
fair.
Rays do value that like platoon neutralness in their late inning relievers.
Yeah.
Diekman has changed his slider shape to be more platoon neutral. It's got a lot less like horizontal break. The velo's climbing, so it's like a cut slider shape, but it's still got that nasty seam shifted wake action where it's like, I'm gonna try. I don't know which way to spin my hand, but okay, it comes in. No, it comes in spinning like this, so you think it's
Right.
gonna break, but then the spin axis like points right at you, so it tumbles straight down. So it's like a gyro cutter, but it's a slider, but it's also like 90 miles an hour. It's so awesome.
It's
Really
cool.
late break on that pitch, really late like tilting action. It's so cool. So yeah, I think Diekman is definitely making a name, making a case for himself. I mean Stevenson, but Diekman is definitely like the second lefty behind Poche. I think those would probably be the only two lefties they run with. And then Kittredge is also kind of a wild card. He could force his way up, but they don't really need him to. So, yeah, I mean, it's the back end of the bullpen and the bulk arms, plenty of depth. Everything's good there. Just need the starters to. I mean, honestly, they could afford to lose one more starter. Maybe not afford to lose Glass now, but the starting depth is the area of not concern, but the area of need. Everything else is pretty much covered, and they have guys who can throw multi innings, and I'm not concerned about like workload in the postseason. It's just they just need to not get any significant injuries to the starting pitchers for the rest of the year. No pressure though.
No pressure. Yeah, but I think as long as Eflin and Glasnow are still healthy, we're going to be fine. Because I think those two guys can go toe-to-toe with any 1-2 punch in baseball right now. Yeah, I think that's pretty – I don't think that's a whole lot of debate there. But especially in the American League. Like, I don't really know – I'm not really scared of any other 1-2 punches in the American League right now. So
the Astros, it would be like Framber Valdez and Justin Verlander, but I'm not scared of Justin Verlander.
I am not scared.
I know that he's going to give you like at least 5 innings and a borderline quality start in a playoff game, which is probably all the Astros really need. But like Eflin and Glasnow just have like I feel like a higher ceiling. But we know that Verlander is a safe. So yeah, I mean, I think Glasnow and Eflin would be the best 1-2 punch, honestly, out of all the current playoff teams. If the Mariners can sneak in, they might challenge that, but they're not sneaking in right now, so I'm not going to worry.
And the Orioles, not really. I'm not scared of any.
No, they barely. All of their guys are essentially like number 3 starters. Like they don't have like that one guy who can go out there and he can take over a game. Like they don't have that.
They're hoping Grayson Rodriguez will sort of magically become that at some point in the next like couple weeks here, but
yeah, I mean, go for it. I guess I'm fine with that. Yeah,
I'm perfectly happy with their decision-making process on that one.
It's kind of like I don't know if you're just a soccer example here, but when we were playing in that RBLR, when we played for RBLR FC in that tournament where we definitely won every game, that's for sure. But the other teams who would take a shot from like 25 yards out, and it's like, yeah, you can take that shot every single time. Like I like playing it as a defender. Like I'm gonna let you have that. I'm not gonna let you have the look from like 10 yards out. So it's kind of like that with Baltimore. Like, yeah, go ahead, try to make Grayson Rodriguez an ace. Like it might work by September, it might work by October, but I'm gonna let you try that because it's not threatening. Like it's not. So
go for it.
They have depth. Like they have so much starting depth, but they don't have that like true high end talent. So I'm really not scared of Baltimore as a playoff team, honestly.
Who's your if you get to a game 7 and you're Baltimore, who's your guy that you're like,
Felix
we can
Bautista,
go to that guy?
Like you're like, yeah, let's have him throw 7 innings.
7 innings. Felix Bautista, just go. Just see what you got. What you got, kid?
I think that's the plan, honestly. Him and Cano, like they're going to try to get like 3 to 4 innings out of those two in any close playoff game, and like they're kind of doing that now in the regular season. So I'm really interested to see like if we got pulled pork shoulders in October.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's kind of weird to know that the only pitcher that I'm like kind of scared of in the American League will not be in the playoffs. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Wait, who's that?
I'm kind of scared of Garrett Cole a little bit now that we don't have.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little bit scared of him, although he did just get destroyed today.
Yeah,
but
he got
I mean,
blown up.
Garrett Cole's very good, and I don't. He just has this. He's very good in the postseason most of the time, so I don't really want to deal with him.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that I'm thoroughly enjoying the Yankees' downfall, and I'm also enjoying that Garrett Cole is sort of being dragged down by the complete like crap show that is the Yankees this season.
Yeah. They have the biggest analytics staff in all of baseball and maybe in professional sports, but it doesn't really mean anything if you don't know how to apply your information. Like, and like boil it down to something the player can actually use. So cool. Have fun with your 700 analytics data processing interns. Have fun.
They can all tell you that Josh Donaldson is not it. They can all tell you that.
Yeah,
I promise.
So, I don't know. I think we're good. I already went over injury stuff. Carson Williams, leapfrogs, Double-A goes to Durham. That's pretty cool. His glove is awesome. Cool. Hunter Haas, leapfrogs Lowe from the Complex League all the way to Bowling Green. His glove is awesome. Ronnie Simone also got a little promotion. It's probably just a cup of coffee, but he's up in Durham as well. So shortstops on the move everywhere right now in the organization, in the minor league system. Yeah.
Good stuff. It's fun. It's fun to see these players that are all these super talented players getting their chance. And it's cool I'm excited to see what them getting these chances is going to do for their development. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we can wrap this up then, unless there's anything else I missed. I think we got it all. The game is starting, or it has started.
It is in the starting process.
Brandon Lowe hit by a pitch because the Angels are scared of him.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah. And Yandy Diaz hit a 102 mile an hour ground ball, which is par for the course for him. Grounded out.
He does.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Go enjoy the game. Well, I guess you're going to hear this after the game, but I hope you enjoyed it. Raise up.
Raise up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.